If you've ever found yourself thinking there's not ever enough, never enough love, never enough success, never enough money, the whole nine, then this episode is going to hit home for you. Hey, love, welcome back to Rollerset to Mindset. I'm your host, Angela B. Fuller, and today I'm going to be diving into how I personally rewired my thinking from a mindset of scarcity to one of abundance. And no, this isn't about money. This episode is not necessarily about money. This is about how we see the world, how we see our world, how we respond to fear, how we respond to opportunities, and even the success of other people. And I'll be sharing some of my own story, some of my own story and how I lifted and shifted that voice in my head and what tools actually worked for me. So I want you to just sit back and participate a little bit and enjoy this episode. So if I were to begin, then I would have to begin with my own scarcity story because we all have one. Sometimes it's difficult to share, but sometimes the only thing to do is to share. So let me take you back. There was a point in my life where everything felt tight. And I know you know what I mean, where everything felt tight. My finances felt tight, my time felt tight, even my self-worth felt tight. And I found myself constantly comparing myself to other people, not necessarily comparing myself to people in the area where I felt like I was an expert, but I found myself comparing myself to people that were doing what I had a burning desire to do. And I was feeling like I was getting started late, that I was behind because the desire to pivot from one career. I've been an entrepreneur for 35 life, but the desire to pivot from one career into another, from salon and the beauty industry into coaching women 50 plus on how to prepare themselves mentally um, to create a whole new life chapter, their next life chapter, about being clear and about being courageous to make that move and how to develop the confidence and to make that move with joy, with not overly concerning ourselves what other people might have thought about what we were doing. And so I was feeling like I was behind, like there just wasn't enough to go around. And I know some of you feel that way because I know there's some of you out there who have a very strong desire to pivot what you're doing, whether you're close to retirement or whether you want to try your hand of entrepreneurship. Some of you are just at the very beginning of aspiring to be an entrepreneur, or even going back to school, or even just changing careers. I know where you are because I have been there. And if someone else, a lot of times when we think about making this move and we see other people ahead of us, we don't think about the fact that we're just getting started and the person we feel intimidated by has been doing this thing successfully for years. A lot of times we find ourselves comparing our beginning to someone else's middle. And that is so unfair to ourselves. So I just want to dissect that a little bit to ensure you that you are not behind, that you're right on time. And all you have to do is make the decision and move forward in that decision. Be consistent. Get what you need to move to the next step. And so when I look at other people, I felt like other women were winning. And so I felt like I was losing. And I avoided taking risk. I avoided going to the next step, taking the next step, because I was afraid that there just wouldn't be another shot for me. I felt like I was behind the eight ball and losing time. And honestly, that mindset that mindset kept me stuck for years. I found myself stuck in that position way longer than I should have been. And that if that is you, then I want you to put in the comments, that's me. And things that I would say to myself. You tell me if some of this sounds familiar to you. I can't afford that. I don't have time for that. That's for people who already have their degree or who already have some idea of what entrepreneurship is about. You know, we tell our things the very same things that will keep us stuck. But the truth was, the limitations were all inside my head. They weren't even real. And a part of my brain would tell myself that just to keep me safe, just to keep me safe. So what I had to do, I had to give myself a wake-up call. And how I went about that, I'm going to tell you how I did it. And you can grab some paper, some pen, and write some of these things down, because I truly believe that it will help you. I truly believe that it will help you. And so what I started doing was I started journaling every time I felt anxious or every time I felt limited. And so what do I mean by that? I would write out what I was thinking, whatever limiting thoughts I was thinking or limiting belief I had, and I would ask myself, is that true? And I would go even deeper than that. I would ask myself, 9 out of 10 times, is that true? Or 5 out of 5 times, 5 out of 10 times, is that true? And each time I would come up with the answer, no, it's not. Because it never was. It was all in my head. And what I had to do was I had to see the lies I was believing before I could change them. And so once I put it out of my headspace, out into the world, then I came to realize that I got an awareness of my thought patterns. And when I got that awareness of my thought patterns, then I was able to change it. So that's what I want to suggest to you. The first shift to get yourself out of downplaying yourself, or to get yourself out of having a scarcity mindset when it comes to you creating your next life chapter or you wanting to pursue something new and different, I want you to first become aware of your thought patterns. And then you shift those thought patterns. And how you do it? You do it by journaling and by addressing each of those statements that you make about yourself. The second thing that helped me a lot was this. I had to reframe those scarcity thoughts. So after writing the thought down and identifying the thought and asking myself, is this thought true about me? And I realized 9 times out of 10, those thoughts were not true. And as a result of that, I began to reframe those scarcity thoughts. So instead of saying, I don't have enough time, because we say, oh, I don't have enough time to pursue this. I don't have enough time to make this change. So instead of saying, I don't have enough time, I want to invite you to say, or to start asking yourself, how can I create the space or time for what matters to me? And then you begin to get those juices flowing and you come up with plenty of reasons of how you can create the time or create the space to make it happen. Another thing, this, I can't afford this. So instead of I can't afford this, I want to encourage you to say, I'm choosing to invest this amount right now. And you know, by doing that, all that did was that simply shift my power back into myself. So instead of looking for my power or my answers outside of me, reframing my scarcity thought, it allowed me to shift my power back inside of me, because all the answers exist inside of us. We just have to allow it to come through. And the third thing I did, I started, you know what I'm going to say, I started practicing gratitude. I started developing an attitude of gratitude. And I'm going to tell you, in doing so, it made all of the difference. It made a world of difference for me every morning. And I'm telling you, every morning before my feet hit the ground, I listed 3 things that I was grateful for. Not big things. It don't ever have to be big things. The idea behind it is when you start to focus on the good, when you start to focus on what you're grateful for, I'm telling you, everything changes. You started producing more of the same thing, more of the good. And listen, some days it was just waking up in peace. I was grateful for that. Or some mornings, I'm a coffee girl. So just having, sometimes when I made that coffee and that coffee hit just right, you coffee drinkers know what I'm talking about. I said, Lord, I thank you for this coffee. Man, this coffee is good. Because see, like I said, gratitude begins to train your mind to see what is instead of what's missing. Because when we really think about it, nothing is missing. Nothing is missing. As a matter of fact, Nicole Walters, she wrote a book, I think it was last year. She wrote a book called Nothing's Missing. And that is the truth. Nothing is missing. We can always find what we are looking for because everything has already been created. We just have to see how what is already here, how it can help us, how we can personalize it for ourselves. And the fourth thing that I did that helped me with my limited or scarcity mindset is I started watching whose voice I believe. I started watching whose report I was going to believe. I called it consuming abundant voices versus consuming scarcity voices. I stopped listening to people who fed my fear. I started tuning into podcasts that that signified, that brought to light the things I wanted in my life, the beautiful desires that I created, the new opportunities I wanted for myself. I started reading books that proved to me that I can be, do, and have all that I desire. I started reading God's word more. And listen, it's all in there. But if you just have a desire to hear it a different way, listen to a good podcast, choose a good book, find yourself a good mentor. But you will find that if you start with God's word, it's all in there. I started consuming things that reflected the abundance that I wanted in my life. And I want to encourage you to do the same thing. Start consuming things that justifies, that bring to light the desires of your heart. Because when you do that, everything is energy. That means you're going to attract those things. You're going to be tuned into the frequency of abundance, the frequency of gratitude, the frequency of more success, of more love, of what appears to be more time. So don't negate these things. Whenever you're ready to start going from a scarcity mindset to an abundant mindset, you want to become aware of your thought patterns. You want to reframe your scarcity thoughts, and you want to practice daily gratitude, and you want to start listening to voices that speak the words that you want manifested to show up in your life. And so after changing how I thought, after being grateful, and after taking action, my life began to change. My life began to change, and I became more clear. I got more clarity in my life, in the direction I wanted my life to go. I became more courageous. It became easier for me to take risk. Easy for me to take. I became courageous. I became more confident. And through having clarity, and through having confidence and bliss started to pop up everywhere. Joy. My day was filled with more joy than filled with more sorrow, because we have the power to change. And I just want to encourage you to exercise your power to change, and exercise your power to choose. So how does my life look now? And I'm living it. I've stepped from behind my styling chair. I created my podcast, Rollerset the Mindset. I created a membership that calls women in who are ready to create a new life chapter. I began putting on workshops. I do more speaking. I'm living the life that I have envisioned, because guess what? I took action. I changed my mindset. I shifted my mindset, and I took action. And that's what I want to encourage you to do. Begin the process of shifting your mindset. And along with shifting your mindset, you must take consistent action, daily consistent action, and see how your life changes. So today, I don't live in constant lack. I don't live in negativity. Now that doesn't mean I have everything figured out, because that's the beauty of life. Life is ongoing. It's a constant of learning, of course correcting, of revising. But my default lens is different. I see through different eyes. I see it as an opportunity to learn more, to do more, to become more. I see it as an opportunity to learn when things come my way that's not always ideal. I just see it as an opportunity to learn. So, so when things don't work out, I don't spiral. I don't go to straight to the negative. No, 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 no. I trust that something better is aligning up for me. And so when someone else wins, I want you to get this. When someone else wins, we have to cheer. We have to cheer them on, because you can't take it as proof that you are behind. You look at it and you say, what one woman can do, I can do as well. You encourage that woman's journey, but you also see it as an opportunity to see that what one person can do, I can do as well. And another thing that I do, the way my life is different, is I give more freely now, because I know there's no such thing as lack. I know that we live in an abundant world. And if I'm a child of God, then all that the Father has, all that my Father has is mine. But we've got to learn how to be good stewards of what he gives to us. So when someone else wins, I want you to learn to cheer that person on. And don't ever take it as proof as you are behind. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Give freely. Give freely. That's in your money and your time and your compliments and your encouragement, because what you give out comes back to you. Whatever seeds you plant, you so shall reap. So plant good seeds all the time, as often as you can. Plant good seeds, because when you do that, life feels more spacious. You know what I mean? Life feels more peaceful. And most importantly, what you'll begin to do is you will begin to trust yourself, but you will also begin to trust the process of life. Because without trust, you know what you're living in? You're living in fear. And fear stops us in our track. Fear keeps us stuck. And so that's not what we are condoning. Listen, it's about moving forward. It's about living with an attitude of gratitude. And it's about bringing people along. And sometimes, as much as as much time as I try to keep it positive, keep it going, there is something down the road that could possibly trip you up. Life isn't perfect, Yeah, there's roses to smell, but there are thorns as well. But a thorn doesn't have to be painful. It could just be a learning experience. So when you run into thorns down the road, and you will, I got some tools for you. I got something to help you out, okay? So grab your paper and pencil, because there's power in writing it down. I got a couple of things that you can put in your toolbox to help you to ensure that you're going to just keep shifting in the right direction. There's only 3 of them, so hey, you can do this. The first thing is called flip the thought, and that is self-explanatory. Flip the thought. This is what I want you to do. You ready? I want you to write down one scarcity belief that you have. And I know you got them. We all got them. Write it down. Then I want you to rewrite it as an abundant one. I want you to flip it. For example, you know how we always say, there's not enough what? Time. There's not enough time. So instead of saying or thinking, oh, there's not enough time, I want you to say, I will prioritize what matters. Because when things matter to us, we get it done. So start prioritizing the things that you have to do so that you have the time to do it. We all have 24 hours in a day. Some of us spend 6-8 hours of that sleeping, so we can get it done. So instead of saying there's not enough time, what I want you to say is, I prioritize what matters. The second tool I got for you is create social proof. David Shands, he's got a podcast called Social Proof. Ain't nothing like social proof. You can't continue to live in a negative, unfulfilling way if everywhere you turn you got social proof. So create evidence of proof. What you can do is put it on your refrigerator. Put a sheet of paper on your refrigerator. Every time you go in that refrigerator, I want you to write something down. What you're going to do is you're going to keep running a list of proof that you are supported, that you are loved, and you are capable. Did you hear me? You are supported, you are loved, and you are capable. And I want you to add to that list daily. I am kind. I am gorgeous. I am beautiful. Whatever you need to put that's going to keep you smiling. I want you to create that list of social proof. And then you refer to it when life be lifing. Okay? And the third thing, the third tool is gratitude. There's nothing like gratitude. Gratitude shifts the entire atmosphere. So every morning or every morning and every night, just say just three things that you are thankful for. You know, you can say it really fast. You don't have to filter it. You know, you want to train your brain to look for abundance. Three things every morning, three things every night that you are thankful for. And between flipping your thought and creating your social proof list and saying your gratitude, what you're grateful for, you can't lose. You can't lose with the stuff I use. I'm not going to claim that as my own. I think it was back in the day, Reverend Ike said that. You can't lose with the stuff I use. So you're not going to lose. You're going to win because you're a winner. So every morning when you wake up, you're going to live in gratitude. You're going to pray. And you're going to make your mind up that you're going to slay your day. Whatever comes your way, you're going to slay it. So I want to leave you with this. I know I did a lot of talking, but I had to get it out. So I want to leave you with this. Abundance isn't about having more. It's not about having more, but it's about seeing differently. It's about seeing through a different set of eyes. And that's what I want you to begin to adopt. Abundance is not about collecting things. It's not about material things, but it's about seeing differently, seeing the world around you as plentiful, seeing the world around you as your garden that you are responsible for keeping, your bed of roses, your garden of fruits and vegetables. That's the essence of abundance. And you already have so much more than you realize, but I want you to begin to see it. And once you shift how you think, you start to attract more of what truly matters to you. And here's the thing. You can do that by thinking of someone who matters to you, someone who you care about, and share this episode out. Give them something to hope for. You know, give them something to hope for. Because a lot of people that we know, they look the part, but a lot of folks are living in scarcity. But they're so afraid of admitting it because they are afraid of what people may think about them. So help someone out. Share this episode out. And before we go, I want you to write in the comment what's one scarcity thought you're ready to release today. And then I want you to go to work to make that happen. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you haven't. And as I said, share it out. And check out the link in the show notes. I'm going to put the link to my free membership that's on school. The name of the membership is the Fuller Life Chapter Hub, a place for women 50 plus, especially ambitious women and aspiring entrepreneurs. If you're ready to make a shift of some kind to create a next life chapter, I've created a free membership on school that allow you to be in a community of women who are reaching for the same thing. That way we get to encourage one another. It's a brand new membership, so we can build this thing together, and we can have a place, we can have a cohort, we can have a hub that we all come together and make each other better. So until next time, I want you to stay grounded. I want you to live in abundance, and I want you to know that you are capable than so much more than you think. I'll talk with you soon, okay? Bye.